Hello everybody, this is Renee here in Tallahassee with Stampin' Up, Independent Demonstrator, and today I thought I would go ahead and show you 7 projects for next week. Now I'm not going to make them all, but I'm going to show you and tell you the materials that you need, and if you want instructions, you leave me a message and I will post the instructions for that particular card. I will explain what they're made with, and so that if you have those materials, you can go ahead and make them. I basically made each of these projects last week, pretty much one each day. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it gives you inspiration, and I hope that you are all well. All right, so here we go. So here is one of the items I made, which is a pillow box, as you can see, and I used it out of DSP, and I did tie it together with some ribbon. This ribbon was on the clearance rack at one time. So let's look at this item in particular, and let's look at the different DSP that I used, and stamp sets and punches and all those kinds of things. So the Golden Honey Specialty Designer Series paper was used, and then we went ahead and used the Full of Happiness set here. And to do the egg, it was fairly simple actually. I used a 2.5 circle punch and stamped on it, and simply freehand cut this after I stamped from that stamp set. So I also used a 1-inch hole punch, and this little guy comes from Fable Friends. Now these are punches actually, and this punch is the leaf punch, and this is the punch that was called perennial flower punch, if you remember that one. So there is that. So I think I have listed everything. You can literally make a pillow box out of any size. Basically, you take your sheet of paper, however long or wide you want it, and then you go ahead and use and go ahead and roll it like a roll, and then go ahead and take a plate and simply take the plate to the edges and make a marking, and then on both ends, as you can see there as well, and there's your little pillow box. So it's really quite easy. Okay, I think I've told you everything about this one. This is number 1. Number 2 is, of course, we have to make an Easter basket. All right, and so the Easter basket, again, I use Full of Happiness, right here, sorry, Full of Happiness stamp set. And here what I did is I cut it out and I put it on both sides, since it was, since you were able to take it out. And I fussy cut, of course, the little birdie. But again, that was fairly easy with that circle punch and just simply cutting out. I did use the new DSP flowering foils from the second Celebrations release, as you can see here. And here is the So Very Vellum Specialty Designer Series paper right here on the top. And again, that was from that second release, a freebie for a $50 purchase. All right, then here I went ahead and used Fable Friends, and then one of my favorite punch sets from the standard catalog is called Beautiful Bouquet. And so the Beautiful Bouquet gave me this and my little background here, if you can see that background, those little flowers. The Beautiful Bouquet is just an incredible stamp set, And I used this stamp on one of the cards I'm going to show you as well. This comes in very handy, and I like it very much. The box, when I did do the flowering foils, I did color it with my Stampin' Writes, and that worked out so well for me and gave it some colors, as you can see. All right, so I do have the directions for this little box, this cute little box that uses the Fable Friends, again right here. I did have already set up a different dimension for you if you are interested in that other dimension. It's a fairly simple box, and it folds up so easily right here. I love how this folds up and closes, and this is a bigger one, and this uses a full 8.5 by 11. What I did with this one, to make this box, I used a 12 by 12, and then what I did is I had enough to make another card with it, which would be your third project. All right, and of course I used those Fable Friends here, and the Happy Spring is from the Fable Friends, and the punch was the, I believe the punch was called Label Me Fancy Punch. Yes, that was the Label Me Fancy Punch. And again, I used that DSP and I colored it with my Stampin' Blends, and there you go. That was fairly easy, and of course these two can go together, but this was made with a 12 by 12, so that was kind of nice. All right, so those are those two. All right, so the next one I made was with the Golden Honey Specialty Designer Series paper and the Honeybee Bundle. And I used an old punch, but you could use the classic label punch for this punch. That would go really nicely. I also used the tin tile embossing folder, the stitched shapes for the circle, of course the 2 1/4 punch for the hole punch is this die set, and that I used, and you can see how I did this. I cut this out, really cute, and then of course here's the inside using this, but I will get that name to you if you would like to know which set that border came from. But it is a die set of borders. I think I just moved that, sorry about that. All right, so that was that. That's a great trifold card. As you see here, you can see how that was done, and it was just so much fun. And of course I did a lot of punching out with those dies, and just a perfect card. All right, so then that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. My next card, which would be number 5, is all from the Lily Impressions. All right, so we have the Lily Impressions Designer Series paper, we have the Lily Pad dies, we have the Lily Pad stamp set, and we have the paper. This is our, this paper right here is actually the watercolor paper. Now the watercolor paper sheets are small sheets. They're not a standard 8.5 by 11. They're a square. You could take your Stampin' Write and make a dark line, and then just take a sponge and start moving down. And then if you like the effect of this, you can take this sponge and go ahead and dab it to get that effect. Just a fun effect. All right, so as you can see here, I use the DSP. The DSP is here, the other side of the DSP is here and here. Here are the dies. This is, again, this older label, but you, again, could use the classic label punch for this. You can shorten it up how you like. Again, here, I use the dies and the stamp set. So a beautiful, easy card to make. And basically you are using your dies and your stamp set and everything. And it has been quite enjoyable to make that one. That was my first one that I made out of those 7 days. All right, so we have this. And then, so now my 6th and 7th. So here we have, and here's that wishing you a day of love and happy memories. And this was from the beautiful bouquet. And this, of course, is from that Forever Blossoms bundle. And this is the heirloom stitched dies and 3D embossing folder right here. And of course, again, I used my Stampin' Rights all the way. And here is our bird from our Designer Series paper, Bird Ballad. Bird Ballad Designer Series paper. And of course, I cut out those birds, fussy cut those birds. And of course, you can see here the vellum in the background. Just a fun, lovely, not too hard card to make because of our dies that we get to use with our stamp set. Of course, I did use the Stays On, and the Stays On now I use this liquid, the Stays On, what is it called? Stays On Cleaner. Yeah, that's a pretty easy name, right? Stays On Cleaner, and it works really well and saves your rubber stamps. Again, if you use them with the photopolymers, you better be quick on rinsing this off. All right, so anyway, there's my birds. You can hear my birds as usual. All right, so there is this card, and then my final card. Again, I used that new vellum, so very vellum specialty designer series paper. I used on the card these woven thread sequins assortment. I use these a lot. Their colors come in really handy, as you can see. And as you've seen, if you've looked at some of my photos and some of my videos. And so Sending Hugs was from Perfectly Framed, and of course I fussy cut that out. This is all from that Forever Blossoms bundle, all the cutouts and all of that. Of course, here we have again our bird from the Bird Ballad Designer Series paper. All right, and our very vellum. And so these are the cards that I made, and these last 7 days, and boxes and bags, and there they are. These are they. I really, let me move this a little bit so you can see maybe a little better. There it goes. I hope you enjoy these. And again, many of these items were for free. The Lily Impressions Designer Series paper right here with the lily pad dies and the lovely lily pad stamps, that each of the individual ones were $50 purchase and were free. And then of course our Golden Honey specialty designer paper here and here. And then we also had then the flowering foils, of course, and the So Very Vellum that came in that second release. So all of these items were free with $50 purchases, each one. The mini catalog, of course, we had the Honeybee bundle, so all the stamps and all the the dies, all right, for that. And then the flower Forever Blossoms, of course. Those represent a bundle. Perfectly Framed came from the mini catalog. Full of Happiness came from the mini catalog. The Fable of Friends, of course, came from our yearly annual catalog, as well as the circle punches, the 2 1/4 and 1 inch. Label Me Fancy Punch, actually Label Me Fancy Punch came from the mini catalog. Tin Tile Embossing Folder, which came from the annual catalog. Stitch Shapes, annual catalog. Heirloom Frame, annual catalog. Perennial Flower Punch, perennial catalog. And those, of course, were right here. And the leaf, of course, the leaf, there you go, more of my beautiful little birds. The Beautiful Bouquet comes from the annual catalog, and of course the label punches, any of the label punches that you would get. Well, I hope this was kind of fun and maybe even a little inspiring to give you something to do these next few days. Again, contact me if you would like to go ahead and get directions on any of these items. All right, bye-bye now.